So first of all, welcome everyone. And we would like to thank you for joining us at IUG and this presentation. I'm Rahul Talreja, Product Manager for IoT Applications with my colleague Jan Homas, Lead Engineer for Cumulocity IoT UI and the Web SDK. And today's IoT landscape, it's very important that you are able to validate ideas, create solutions, and deploy them at scale. And for this, we are here today to share the innovations we are doing in the application enablement so that we can help you in your IoT journey to take the maximum benefit of your connected devices. Going forward, I would like to first give you a brief overview of our application enablement and management strategy. We have multiple parts of it. The first one is the click part, which also refers to the buy part of our strategy. We provide you with no-code toolings using which you can easily validate your ideas. You can use the different templates, widget catalogs to try to create your first solutions easily in minutes, and then try out this with your customers and validate your ideas. The next part of our strategy refers to the code part of the strategy, which is also the build and integrate part of our strategy. Once you have created your POCs, we allow you to also extend the solutions using our developer toolings and create your specific business use case requirement features on the top of platform. These differentiating factors help you to separate your solution for other solutions out in the market from your of your competitors. And then the third part of our strategy is the conquer part, which relates to the scale part of our strategy. Once you have created your solution, you have validated them, you have extended them and made the differentiating features of your platform, we allow you to deploy those solutions at scale with many toolings of our, including like white labeling, multi-tenancy, and many other. So in today's session, I would like to first take you through the innovation highlights, where I would like to cover the functionalities, features which we have made available to you guys in the last 1 year. And instead of taking you to the boring slide, I would like to actually take you through the live demo of the same. During the last IUG, we had also introduced new application, Digital Twin Manager. So Digital Twin Manager allows you to create your asset models onto the platform and utilize them to create your asset hierarchies on the system. So after presenting it to many customers, we received multiple feedbacks that it was difficult for the customers to visualize their long hierarchies. For that, we had added one new functionality of asset tree into the platform, using which you can easily navigate your hierarchies very easily on the application. This is right now available in Digital Twin Manager, and we are also working on a plugin so that you can easily utilize the same view in Cockpit and other applications. Apart from this, there were many other smaller enhancements in the DTM, like we have also introduced the reordering of complex properties. We have also introduced import-export of asset models, asset properties, which you can view. And in the cockpit, we had many enhancements around the dashboard experience. So we have introduced many new widgets. We have migrated many widgets to the performant Angular 16 and Angular. And I will take you through few of those specific upgrades over here. The first one I wanted to cover here was the availability functionality of the dashboard. In many of the customer interviews we did, many customers shared the problem with us that it's difficult for them that if they have 3 different user personas accessing the dashboard, all of them are able to see all those dashboards. And it was difficult for them to separate those dashboards for their different users, for which we added the option of availability over here, using which you can now select which global role is allowed to view this dashboard. And now when different user personas are logging into the platform, they will only see those dashboards which they are supposed to see. This helps you to create different dashboards for different personas. We also added a new Markdown widget into the platform. You can now easily visualize Markdown files, which are in the Markdown language, on the platform. by either uploading them over here or either linking them directly to a file path. For an example, if you are having your application on the GitHub and you are managing your docs over there, you can directly link those README files here so that you can provide your users, let's say might be how to use your application, or might be some other content you want to display. We also migrated our map widget to Angular. And with that migration, we also added a lot of different configuration options over here. For an example, we added a zoom level widget over here so that you can select a default zoom for your map widget now. We also added an option whether you can center bound your map widget to a specific point or to the location of your device itself. Apart from this, we also added icon for your devices, so you can select the icon which you want to display on the device. And apart from that, we have also enabled the location of assets on those map widgets. So now as you are getting assets, if that assets are having location, that will also get plotted on the same map. We also migrated image widget over here, and with the migration we also added a lot of configuration options over here. Now you get an option to choose how you want to display the image and how you want to align those images. This helps you to make the dashboard more beautiful so that you don't need to worry about if someone moves the image, how it will get displayed and aligned. Before going to one of the last feature over here, I would like to share that this widget which we are looking at is not actually available to you directly out of the box. This is actually one of the widget which is available from the extension library. So in the last IUG, we introduced extensions, concept of extensions, using which you can easily install UI plugins or blueprints. If you check your administration application, you will be able to see an option of extensions from where you can access these extensions and deploy them in your tenant. For an example, we have introduced this new data point widget 2.0 a few months back. And once we were done with the code part, we directly made it available as a part of a plugin, which made it easy for us to provide you something which you can test and we can get more feedback. And in the coming months, we'll be replacing the existing data point widget with the new one. And I would also like to share that in the last 1 year, the adoption of the extensions has been quite huge. So we, as of today, have 56 plugins available for you to use. You can go through the library of the plugins and choose the plugins which you want to look into and make them work. Another thing which is very good about these plugins, it's all those 56 are open source and also available on GitHub. So different developers from our team, from our customers, contribute those plugins of which the majority part is open source. If there is a plugin which you like too much, you can enhance the functionality. Or if there is a plugin which you don't like, you can also improve it and contribute it back to us. Like Lucas few days back contributed a pull request where he added the translations to one of our widget, which was data point capture widget. And we immediately accepted that pull request, and now it's available for all other users to try out. So you can easily extend them, contribute it back so that others can also get benefit from it. Now going back to the last option over here. So this is the new data point widget. So it's in the previous widget, we received the feedback that it's one of the most used widgets and with which users also like to interact. So like they like to change the parameters, they like to change the aggregation. So we introduce all those options on the front tile of the widget itself. So now I can either make another parameter available here, I can either disable the parameter, and I also can change the aggregation of it. Apart from this, there was one very important change which we brought with this plugin. You can now see that there is an option of selecting the time context on the dashboard itself. We added a time context to the whole dashboard, using which you can now directly select the time context on the dashboard level, which gets applied to all the supported widgets. For an example, in this screen, you can see there are two widgets at the moment. One is this data table widget, and one is the data point graph widget. Whenever I update the time context over here, both the widgets will get updated automatically. Using this, you don't need to manually change time settings in all those widgets. You can simply make a single click on the dashboard and you can select that time. This is available as a configuration option where you can decide if you want to use the dashboard time range or you want to use the widget configuration specifically. While this is all good, but one of the very important thing lies into the code part of our strategy. And with that, I would like to now hand over the mic to Jan Homas.
I will go shortly back to the slides. Yeah, I'm the. Yeah, when I switch to full screen, I guess it will go to. Oh no, perfect. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Raul. You already introduced me. I'm Jan Hommes. I'm the product owner of Web SDK and application development. And I now would like to show you what we did in the Web SDK the last couple of days, and also want to show you some code. So enterprise app development, harder than you think. So we have seen a lot of very technical stuff lately. And when you think about web development, it's mostly very easy, right? You write some static files and just upload them to some server, and that's all. But when you think about that, basically all of these things need to be considered when you want to build an enterprise-ready application, web application, right? You need to have authentication, consistent UX, compliance, translations, data for sure, infrastructure, and hosting. And in the end, you need to build value for sure. And then when you have that, maybe you want to also integrate this with CI/CD. And what we try with Web SDK basically is to get the developer focused on the most important part, right? The building value. And therefore, we basically have authentication and user management included. So you have a login screen as soon as you use the Web SDK. We have consistent UX, right? You get the Cumulocity UI, but you can also enhance that with the branding, compliance for sure. We are compliant. Translation, you can have basically a lot of custom translations already in the thing, in the Web SDK, but you can also enhance your translation, just did, right? And data for sure. It's not just data that you get from your IoT platform, though it's also the data access, right? Infrastructure and hosting is available via our application hosting API, which you just can use to upload an application. And then you can really focus on building value. But what about CI/CD, right? So, and this is what I want to show you today, basically, that this is also kind of covered. And therefore, I want to do a little code exercise here on stage. Let's see how that works. So this is basically a basic project you get when you run the basic Angular project. This is also one big investment we did lately. We invested into building our stack back to from a custom CLI tool that we had to the Angular CLI tool. The Angular CLI tool is basically called ng. So what I did here is basically I just run ng new, which is a basic command, and then we basically add the CLI web SDK to it, right? And that's I already did that because otherwise it would take too much time. So and then you get this basic basic structure here, which you then can run with ng-serve, and then you get on the left-hand side this dev server up and running. And when you basically click on that one, you get your application up and running. Very empty application, right? Nothing in there, so just the surface. But you see directly, I'm basically logged in, right? So this is my username, and I can even switch through the applications if I want to. So let's maybe build some value. I don't want to do this now in total, but I will run a little script that basically basically adds some files to the thing. So let's see what it did. So it added in total 6 files, and I'm not very sure who is familiar with Angular development, but it's you can see basically directly that there is not so much changes. So we basically added just an hello component and a map component, and we hooked them into our app module, right? I will directly commit this thing, so because we want to see the CI/CD workflow, so I will add the files to my Git and commit this as IOG 2024. And I will push this to GitHub, basically. And while this is done, we can also take a look at what it was in the development server. So it automatically refreshed, so we now get the application. So very simple hello component with the image inside, and then you get here maybe a map that I just added some pubs. I was too lazy to find all the pubs around, so don't bear me on that one. So there are just 3 inside. Yeah, that's basically it. I already committed that, and what I wanted to show basically is also these workflow files. I hope we can read them now because the screen is quite small. So they are here, deploy. So what is that? So basically this is a file that you can use to tell GitHub that it should run a certain CI/CD job. So what called a pipeline or workflow, or however they call it. You have that basically on nearly every development infrastructure that you can use such a thing. And it basically tells me that on push to a branch main, which I just did, you should run Ubuntu latest, check out the files, set up Node, because we are using Angular and there you need Node for. You're installing the dependency, and then the last step is basically what is just relevant for Cumulocity, because then we basically say, also with the default tool, the Angular CLI, we basically say, okay, deploy this please to my tenant Jan. The password is secret, so we have used here a secret with this tenant ID and with this URL. And when we now go to GitHub, we hopefully will get a workflow created. There, it's still running, which is a bit of a pity. Oh, it's done already. So you see with the green tick, everything worked fine. So the whole installation, everything worked. So now hopefully we got it deployed to our tenants. So let's check that. Maybe first on the extension side. I could have pressed just the reader button in the upper right corner, but I forgot about that. Yeah, it's there. So the application is deployed. And then let's refresh the stuff here and see there's our application live on the system. So when I now do any changes to that, just committing that will directly deploy the stuff to my tenant, which is quite nice, I find. So the next example is a bit more complex. I will just try to now increase my version number. So we have a new version. Let's imagine, don't know, your boss comes and says, this IoT 2024 was really nice, but we need a new website, IoT 2025 or something like this, right? So I will just run my next command with which copy over the files, npm copy 2. And I will now create basically a branch out of this, because I want to not publish that now, because I just want to have maybe a preview for my boss saying, okay, that's the new website I will show you. So I will create a branch, IoT 2025. Oh, there was a typo. It's gut, it's git. Sorry for that. I will add my files. I will commit my files. And I will push this. And now I will head over to GitHub. And we'll just create a request out of it. So now what will happen next is the second workflow file that I also added here, which is a preview workflow file, right? So it's basically exactly the same things that we are doing here. So we are installing Ubuntu latest, checking out the files, setting up Node, installing the dependencies, and then just what we added another environment variable, which is basically the branch name of the current branch. And we are now uploading this, or we are now adding this branch name as a tag to our application. So what is a tag? So we introduce in our application hosting basically tagging and versioning, and that's very important, because then you can basically version your application however you want it, and then basically uploading a new application which is maybe just in preview mode, or which you don't want to have your customers directly on, and that will then be deployed with this preview stuff. And in this case, we only do this on a pull request, right? So we only say, okay, we have our pull request ready, the developer is ready, so we just deploy it then, so that we have a preview mode, basically. Yeah, let's go back to our actions, see if it's already finished. Your website, there is the new workflow. It's the preview workflow. Please open that one. There we go. It's still running. It's already in the deploy mode. Hopefully soon finished, so it takes around 1.5 minutes. There we go. And now when we go back to our extensions, I refresh here. I go to my IoT application. I check out the versions, and I see directly, okay, my new version is now deployed with a tag. This is basically the tag, IoT 2025. And this is the latest tag. So this is basically the default tag that is always used when you deploy something. And yeah, that might be the time to talk a bit about what this in the end is. It's called what we call a blueprint. It's something we introduce also with our extension stuff. Not so much used yet, but we hope that it will be used more. Basically, it's a base application that you can provide to your customers as a template, and then they can install it. But you can for sure also install it on your own. So let's maybe deploy this application. So by default, you will always see, okay, it's using the latest tag, but now I want to show you the new application, basically. Deploy it. It will take a while. Okay, it's done. And I open that one and open the application. And maybe I should have quoted examples. So next IoT would be nice. Just a little hint. Right? We have also beaches near us, so very important stuff, right? Yeah. So yeah, that was basically it. From my side, I guess Raul will take over, but just my little finished slide here. So yeah, we did this application hosting improvements, which are really nice. I would like to check them out, that you check them out. They are really good to actually use this tagging, versioning. We have the Angular CLI migration, so we are not using any custom tool anymore. We are just using the default, which is really good. We have also an updated documentation called Codex, which is really the coder documentation. I haven't shown that, but please check that out. It's linked in our documentation, in our main documentation, and therefore we hopefully have enhanced our development experience. Yeah, and the example with the 3 simple commands, ng new, ng serve, and ng deploy, you can find on my GitHub page. For sure there were some Git commands between, but this is very development stuff. And with that, I will basically hand over to you, Raul, again.
Thanks, Jan.
Wait,
And I really hope the next IOG is somewhere we have beaches, anywhere, I mean Maldives. Yeah. So we've initially covered the click part of the strategy. So we showcased that what we are doing to enhance your experience around making solutions on Cumulocity. So there were many other features which we have done in the last few quarters, which is also visible on our new documentation website. There you have a proper changelog section where you can filter out application enablement and look into the new features. There were many others which I didn't cover in the presentation. Please look out at that. And then on the click part, while Jan shows the whole user journey, we have also made many other enhancements into the extension concept. Like one of them is the version metrics. In the last quarter, we pushed an update. Now you can also mention the Angular version you have made your plugin for, using which you can have a better compatibility of, let's say, compatibility checks when the extensions are being deployed. And now on the last part was the conquer in our strategy. So while we have been enhancing the click and code part of our platform, we are now also looking into many features using which we will make it easy for you to deploy your solutions to many of your assets. For an example, we are currently about to introduce a new dashboard layout and also make it more accessible for you to define your device type dashboards. With that, we will be also soon introducing a way of defining asset type dashboards for you. And later on, we'll be bringing up other features like Dashboard Manager, where you can manage all your type-based dashboards from a single section. And a lot of other features will be also introduced in Digital Twin Manager and Cockpit, which will help you to easily scale your solution. And with that, I would like to bring the presentation to the end. But before that, I also wanted to share the feedback portal with you. So we have been very much, I will say, actively looking into the feedback which you guys have been providing to us. In the last year, we at least did 40 to 45 of interviews, and from which we found out the pain points you guys have been sharing with us, and we actively worked upon them. And also the features we have planned for working on in the next few quarters is all extracted out of the pain points and the feedback you guys have shared with us. I will really request you all to look into the existing feedback which is already there out there, and if you can either vote for the same idea which is available on the portal, or you can also contribute yours. The whole product management team actively look into these feedback and also collaborate with other PMs. So if there is a feature request which is meant for two teams in a single feature, we all internally collaborate on the same ideas, and this really helps us. So already thank you for all of you to continue contributing, and we'll request you to please continue to doing that. And with that, we would now like to open it up for questions, and I have specifically titled it to Discover Together. So when you ask us a question, we might not have answers to all of them, but we definitely discover and try to solve it together with you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Rahul and Jan. So any questions, anybody? Yes.
Hey, thanks for the presentation. More question regarding the deployment of the extension, because that's also something I'm working on at the moment for the CLI stuff. Is the deployment then via an NG extension, or whatever you call that, like a custom deployment script? Is that something that was part of your project, or you're pulled in as a, I don't know, sub-module or something?
You mean the deployment part that it's very custom to Cumulocity is basically some feature of Angular that they call schematics, I guess so. And yeah, when you initialize now a new Cumulocity project, then you basically say, okay, I create a basic Angular bootstrapping application, and then we add our stuff on top of it. And we try to align as less as possible. As said, we want to be as much as possible on the standard. But we can for sure also add there some functionalities or whatever. So we are also considering to add so-called generators, which help you to create out-of-the-box components that are which have this special logic we are using in Cumulocity.
Yeah,
So.
okay. Yeah, and I think in general, just the extensions are a great feature. And also the integration of the NG CLI tool is a lot easier, and I've heard a lot of customers already use that, and there's always that problem. I'm using NG, how do I translate that to Cumulocity, and now that's gone.
Yeah, we had this question quite a lot, and basically when we started with our Angular story, so our migration to Angular, there was no schematics around, so we couldn't do that. And nowadays we can do it, and yeah, finally we managed to do it, and yeah, it was quite a huge change. Also, my team was working on this heavily, like 6 months, and yeah, I'm happy that, and I hope that this will help that more people develop and have easier development stories, actually.
Yeah, no, great stuff. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? Well, thank you guys very much indeed.
Thank you, everyone.